She married the man of her dreams. But on their wedding night, she learned he was never truly alive. Shadows moved when he didn't. Doors opened when he wasn't near them. And at midnight, a ghostly bride whispered her name from the hallway. Soon, Adaora would discover the truth about the man she loved. A truth buried beneath an ancient silk cotton tree. A truth tied to a jealous spirit bride who refused to let him go. Welcome to a story where love crosses the line between the living and the dead. A story of secrets, curses, and a bride fighting for her life. Before we begin, like and subscribe for more powerful African stories. The night Adaora, the beautiful black African seamstress from Tage village, met him, the moon was the brightest it had been in months. She had stayed late in her small shop, sewing the last stitches on a bride's gown. Outside, the wind sang softly, brushing the curtains as though calling her name. Adora! Adaora! A pause. The voice was faint, delicate, almost like a whisper carried by the harmattan breeze. She stepped outside to lock her door, and that was when she saw him. Man. Handsome in a way that made her heart skip. His skin glowed warmly in the moonlight, deep, rich brown like polished mahogany. His eyes were gentle yet carried a depth that felt older than time. The crisp agbada he wore fluttered with a grace she had only seen in royalty. He smiled. "Good evening, Adaora." She froze. How do you know my name?" The man did not move closer, yet his presence wrapped around her like a warm blanket on a cold night. "My name is Obinna," he said in a low, soothing tone. "I have been waiting for you." Her heartbeat quickened. "For me? Why?" But Obinna simply smiled, a smile that made her feel seen. Deeply, completely seen for the first time in her life. "You will understand soon." He bowed slightly, then walked away. No glided, as if his feet barely touched the earth. Adaora stared after him, confused, unsettled, yet strangely drawn to him. The next evening he returned. And the next. And the next. Every night, he appeared just as she closed her shop, walking her home, talking about the stars, life, and her secret dreams she had never told anyone. "How do you know these things?" she once asked him. He only smiled. "I listen, Adaora. I have always listened." Within a few weeks, her heart surrendered. Obinna was unlike any man she had ever met. Kind, patient, protective, full of stories that felt like poetry. But the village elders whispered whenever they saw him. "He is too perfect. He came from nowhere. No family. No history." Adaora ignored them. Love had blinded her. So when Obinna knelt before her one star-filled night and asked her to marry him, she didn't hesitate. "Yes," she whispered, tears filling her eyes. "Yes, Obinna. I will marry you." He kissed her forehead gently. "Our union will be blessed," he murmured. "Nothing will ever separate us." But as he spoke, the wind behind him twisted strangely, swirling like smoke trying to take shape. Adaora blinked, and it disappeared. She brushed it off. Love doesn't question shadows. Within a month, the entire village prepared for the wedding. Adaora glowed with happiness, and Obinna. Well, Obinna glowed too. Literally. Sometimes the moonlight hit him in a way that made his skin shimmer. Her mother grew uneasy. "Adaora," she whispered the night before the wedding. "Are you sure this man is human?" Adaora laughed nervously. "Mama, what kind of question is that?" Her mother didn't laugh. "Child, listen to me. I have lived long enough to know when a man carries a presence that does not belong here." Adaora walked away, refusing to hear more. The next morning, her wedding began with dancing, drumming, and joyous ululations. The village had never seen a handsomer groom, nor a bride more radiant. But just as the officiant began the vows, a strong wind blew through the venue. The sky darkened for a moment. The ground beneath their feet trembled ever so slightly. Adora shivered. Obinna's grip tightened around her hand. "Do not be afraid," he whispered. But his voice no longer sounded fully human. And when he lifted his gaze for a split second, just one blink, His eyes looked like the eyes of someone who had lived far longer than any mortal man should. Someone who might not be alive at all. The ceremony continued. The drums played. People cheered. But deep in the dancing shadows behind the canopy, something watched them. Something that had been waiting for this marriage. For a very, very long time. And Adora. She had just become a bride to a husband. Who was not of this world. The first week of their marriage felt like a dream. Adora woke every morning to Obinna preparing her breakfast. Yam and egg sauce, akara or fresh pap. He smiled gently, spoke softly, and held her as if she were the most precious thing ever created. Their small home glowed with warmth. But something strange happened on the 7th night. Adora woke up around 2 a.m. The room was cold, too cold. And Obinna was gone. His side of the bed was untouched, perfectly smooth, as if no one had ever slept there. She frowned. Maybe he had gone outside. Adora. The faint whisper drifted through the air. She froze. That was her name. But it wasn't Obinna's voice. It sounded softer, bitter, like a woman crying from far away. Adora. The whisper came again. Adora grabbed her wrapper and stepped outside into the moonlit compound. There she saw him. Binna. Standing under the mango tree. His back turned. His body unnaturally still. "Oh, Binna," she called. Slowly, very slowly, he turned around. His face was calm. "Come." "Adora," he said, forcing a smile. "Why are you awake?" She walked closer, studying him. "Why are you outside?" He didn't answer immediately. His eyes shifted slightly, as if trying to remember what a human response should sound like. "I needed some fresh air." His voice was steady, but something felt wrong. His skin shimmered faintly under the moonlight. His shadow stretched longer than his body. Too long, stretching behind him like a tail. Adora blinked. The shadow snapped back into place. He gasped. What was that? Obinna stepped forward quickly, holding her hands. "Adora, look at me. Do you love me?" Her heart fluttered, confused. "Yes, of course I do." "Then trust me," he whispered. "Do not fear what you think you see." He wrapped his arms around her, and she melted into his embrace, soothed by his warmth. But the moment he pulled away, she saw it. A faint mist rising from his back, swirling as if trying to form another shape. Adora stumbled backward. "Obinna, what is happening to you?" He looked at her with eyes full of sorrow. "There are things about me you do not understand yet. Then explain them." He sighed, an ancient sigh, heavy with centuries of secrets. "In time, Adora. In time." He took her hand and led her back inside. But Adora didn't sleep again that night. The next day, she visited her mother. "Mama," she whispered, voice trembling. "Something is wrong with Obinna." Her mother leaned forward. "Did he disappear at night?" Adora's eyes widened. "How did you know?" Her mother exhaled shakily. "Because that is how spirit husbands behave." A cold wave washed over Adora. "Mama, please, don't say that. Obinna is kind, gentle. He is not a spirit." Her mother rose from her seat. "Not all spirits are wicked. Some are charming, protective, loving. They bind themselves to women, especially beautiful ones like you." Adora shook her head vigorously. "No, Obinna is real. He's flesh and blood." Her mother stared at her sadly. "Then let me ask you, have you ever seen him eat meat? Salt? Palm oil?" Adora froze. Her mind raced. Come to think of it, he always pushed meat aside. He never touched stew. And when she offered him palm oil with cocoyam, he politely refused. Her breathing quickened. "Mama, what are you saying?" Her mother whispered. "You married a man who does not belong to the living." Adora felt the ground shift. No, Mama, stop. Binna loves me. He protects me. He's my husband." Her mother held her gently. "Yes, he is. But the question now is, what does he want?" Adaora wept on her mother's shoulder, torn between fear and love. That night she returned home terrified, but Obinna greeted her with the same warm smile. "Adaora, is everything all right?" She swallowed hard. "Yes," but her voice trembled. He pulled her close, resting his forehead against hers. "You are safe with me, Adaora. I will never let anyone harm you." His words should have comforted her. Instead, she felt chilled to her bones. Because under the light, she saw it clearly. No shadow. Obinna cast no shadow at all. And as she stared, horrified, the wind around them whispered, "He is not yours." That night, Adaora barely slept. Every time she shut her eyes, she saw Obinna's feet, still on the ground but casting no shadow. She saw the way the wind moved around him, almost as if greeting him. She heard the whisper of that unseen woman calling her name. So when the first rooster crowed, she rose quickly. Obinna was still asleep beside her, or at least lying still with his eyes closed. She couldn't tell anymore. His breathing was too calm, too steady, too perfect, like someone pretending to imitate life. She slipped out of bed quietly. But the moment her foot touched the floor, a voice spoke behind her. "Adaora!" She gasped and spun around. Obinna was awake, eyes wide open, though he hadn't moved a muscle. "Where are you going?" he asked gently. She forced a smile. I want to fetch water." His head tilted slightly, as though analyzing her answer. "Come back safely," he said at last. But the softness in his tone no longer comforted her. Felt like velvet wrapped around something sharp. She left the house quickly, nearly running. At the village stream, she found Mama Uju, the oldest woman in Tage, gathering herbs. Widely respected for her wisdom, she was the one people went to when matters involved spirits, ancestors, or ancient warnings. Adaora approached her nervously. "Mama Uju, I need help." The old woman looked up, squinting. "Ah, Dora." The new bride with eyes full of fear. Adaora swallowed. You see it too." Mama Uju nodded slowly. "I saw it the day of your wedding. A presence stood behind your groom. A spirit I have not seen in decades." Adora's heart dropped. "Mama, who is he? What is he?" Mama Uju touched the surface of the stream with her fingertips, watching the water ripple. "Obinna is a spirit husband, an Ogbanj groom who binds himself to chosen women. They appear perfect, loving, gentle, but they do not belong to the living." Adora's eyes filled with tears. "But he loves me," she whispered. "He protects me. He is kind." Mama Uju sighed. "Some spirits love deeply, but their love is possessive. They do not share. They do not let go. And when they marry a woman, no living man must come near her again." Adora trembled. "But I am his wife now. What does he want from me?" Mama Uju looked at her with pity. "He wants you to cross over." Adora staggered back. No, Mama. I don't want to die. I don't want to join spirits." Mama Uju held her hand tightly. "Then listen carefully. You cannot confront him. You cannot anger him. You cannot let him know you are afraid." Adora nodded numbly. "Tonight," Mama Uju continued, "when he disappears again, follow him. But do not let him see you." Adora's heart pounded. "You will see where he goes. And only then will we know how to break the bond." That night, Adora pretended to sleep. She kept her breath steady, her body still. Hours passed. And, just like before, the room became cold. The air thickened. And Obinna's body slowly dissolved into a soft fog, vanishing right before her eyes. Adora's entire body shook. But she did what Mama Uju told her. She followed the mist. Barefoot, silent, she trailed behind him as he drifted through the compound, past the mango tree, past the farmland, and into the old cemetery at the edge of the village. There, the mist reformed into his human shape. Adora hid behind a gravestone, peeking. Obinna stood before a particular grave. A woman's grave. A young woman's grave. Then he knelt and whispered, "Amaka, my love, I have found another with your heart." Adora covered her mouth, trembling uncontrollably. Another? Who was Amaka? What did he mean? Before she could move, she heard it. A faint female voice rising from the soil. "Obinna, why did you bring her here?" Adora nearly screamed. The grave shifted. The soil moved. And a pale, ghostly hand reached out from beneath the ground. Obinna took the hand lovingly. Adora's heart shattered. He wasn't just a spirit husband. He was still bound to someone else. Someone who never left the spirit world. And Adora had married a man who belonged, body and soul, to the dead. Suddenly, the ghostly hand pointed toward Adora's hiding place. "Obinna," the voice whispered. "She is here." Obinna turned sharply. His eyes changed, dark, endless, ancient. "Adora," he said softly, his voice echoing unnaturally through the cemetery. "Come out." Her blood turned to ice. He had found her. He knew she followed him. And now, he was no longer smiling. Not even pretending to be human. Adora froze. Her entire body felt like it had turned to stone. Obinna's voice no longer sounded like the man who kissed her forehead every morning. It carried two tones, one gentle, one hollow, as if another being was speaking through him. "Adora," he repeated softly. "Come out." She didn't move. She couldn't. But the spirit woman's hand, still rising from the grave, pointed again, this time more forcefully. "She is hiding," the ghostly voice murmured. "She fears you." Obinna stepped closer to the grave. "She should not fear me," he whispered. "She belongs to me now. Just as you once did." The grave shuddered again, and the spirit's voice rose in anger. "No, you promised me eternity. You swore no other woman would touch your soul." Adora's breath caught. Obinna had loved this spirit, Amaka, before. Deeply, violently, possessively. He had made vows to the dead. And Adora was now trapped inside those ancient promises. Obinna lowered his head. "Amaka, you know what happened. You died. I could not remain alone. I needed someone to walk with in the world of the living." The spirit's voice pierced through the night. "You should have come with me." Obinna closed his eyes. "I wasn't ready." The spirit's hand slammed against the soil, causing the ground to vibrate. Adora bit down on her fist to stop herself from screaming. "You were mine." "No," Obinna replied calmly. "You were my first love. But Adora is different." His voice softened dangerously. "She is warm. She is alive. She fills the emptiness with something real." Amaka hissed, a sound that felt like cold wind cutting through bone. "So you would abandon me for a living woman?" Obinna glanced toward Adora's hiding place, his eyes glowing faintly. "Yes." Adora choked on air. He was choosing her, against a spirit who wanted him forever. But that wasn't comforting, because spirits do not accept rejection. And this one was rising from her grave. The soil cracked louder. A ghostly silhouette began lifting itself upward, thin, tall, with flowing hair that seemed to move like water. Adora backed away slowly. A twig snapped under her heel. Obinna's head jerked. Then the spirit woman turned fully, her hollow eyes locking onto Adora. "There she is," she whispered. Adora bolted. She didn't look back. She ran through the cemetery, bushes scraping her legs, stones tripping her feet. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. Behind her, two voices echoed, one calling her name, one shrieking it. "Adora! Adaora Triple." She didn't stop until she reached the main road. A cold wind swept past her, and Obinna appeared directly in front of her, materializing from thin air. She crashed into his chest and staggered backward. His face held no anger, only sadness. "Adora, why did you follow me?" Her lips quivered. Because I needed to know who you really are." He stepped closer, eyes dark as midnight. "And now that you know, Will you still stay with me? She shook her head violently. I can't. You're a spirit. And she wants me dead. Obinna lifted a hand, gently brushing her cheek. She cannot hurt you. Not while I stand between you and her. But behind him, a Maka spirit appeared, rising like a shadow cast by moonlight. You cannot protect her forever, Obinna, the ghost hissed. She is mortal. She will wither. She will fade. And when she dies, I will tear her soul apart. Adora screamed. Obinna turned sharply, fury twisting his features. Enough, Amaka. His voice cracked like thunder, and the spirit staggered backward, flickering. Then, Obinna grabbed Adeora's hand. We need to go. Now. She pulled her hand back. No. I won't go anywhere with you unless you tell me the truth. All of it. Obinna hesitated. The night held its breath. Finally, he whispered. Tomorrow, before the sun sets, meet me at the old shrine by the silk cotton tree. I will tell you everything. Adeora's voice trembled. And if I don't come? His gaze darkened. Amaka will come for you. And I may not reach in time. Adora swallowed hard. Obinna stepped back, body dissolving into mist again. Before he vanished completely, he whispered, Come, and learn why I returned from the world of the dead. Then he was gone. The spirit woman faded too, leaving only a cold chill behind. Adora fell to her knees, sobbing silently. She had until sunset tomorrow to learn the truth, or lose her life, and maybe her soul. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the ancient shrine by the silk cotton tree. Its massive roots twisted like sleeping serpents, and red earth covered the ground like a warning. Adora stood alone. Her hands trembled. Her heart raced. But she came because running forever was impossible. A soft wind brushed her cheek. Then Obinna appeared. Not walking, not emerging, just materializing like smoke forming into a man. But this time he looked different. Softer, better, almost human. Adaora, he whispered. You came. I came for the truth, she replied. All of it. Obinna stepped closer, the golden evening light catching the sorrow in his eyes. My story begins long before you were born, he said. I was once a man like any other. Farmer, dreamer, a lover. He touched the bark of the silk cotton tree gently. And I loved Amaka, with everything in me. We were young and foolish. We made vows beneath this tree. Vows sealed with old, powerful words. Adora swallowed. What kind of vows? Obinna turned to her slowly. Vows that tied our souls together. Even in death. His voice cracked. When she fell ill and died, I could not bear the loneliness. I visited her grave every night, calling her spirit. And she came. Adeora's breath hitched. You summoned her. Yes. His eyes dimmed with regret. But when a mortal calls the dead, the boundary between worlds shatters. He paused. And death noticed me. Adora took a shaky step back. You died. Binna nodded once. I wandered for years between worlds, no longer fully man, not yet fully spirit. When I saw you in the market that day, you were the first warmth I'd felt in decades. Adora felt her heart twist painfully. You chose me. Yes, chose life again. Through you. A sudden chill swept through the shrine. The air thickened. And Amaka appeared. But this time not screaming. Not furious. Just heartbreakingly sad. Her spirit glowed softly like moonlight on water. Oh Binna, she whispered, her voice no longer sharp with anger. You promised me forever. Obinna faced her. And I kept that promise. I stayed. I mourned you. I walked in darkness. But Amaka, I am tired. The spirit lowered her head. I waited for you in death. And I waited for life. Obinna answered gently. Adora stepped forward unexpectedly. She didn't know why. Courage, compassion, or fear that if she didn't speak, someone would be lost forever. Amaka, Adaora said softly. No one is replacing you. Bina loved you deeply. But love doesn't disappear because hearts heal. The spirit looked at Adaora with hollow, aching eyes. And what of me? What becomes of a spirit bound by vows? Obina turned to her. I will free you. The wind stopped. The world seemed to freeze. Amaka's voice trembled. You would break our bond. Yes, he whispered. Because you deserve rest, not chains. And Adaora deserves peace. Obina stepped to the base of the silk cotton tree and placed his palm on its trunk. A soft golden light spread from his hand. Adaora, he called. Place your hand over mine. She hesitated. I might break something sacred. Obina smiled sadly. You won't break it. You will complete it. With trembling fingers, Adaora placed her hand over his. The ground hummed. The air vibrated. Amaka's form flickered wildly. No, she whispered. The vow, the bond. Light burst from the tree, swirling like a spiral of stars. Amaka's spirit gasped as the supernatural chains tying her to Obina began to unravel, one by one. She lifted her face toward the sky, tears of silver dripping from her eyes. Obina, thank you. Her voice was no longer angry, no longer clingy, only full of relief and gratitude. The last chain snapped. A warm breeze swept through the shrine. And Amaka smiled, soft, peaceful, beautiful, before dissolving into shimmering light that floated upward toward the heavens. Adaora covered her mouth, overwhelmed. Obina turned to her. But he was fading. What's happening? Adaora cried. He brushed her cheek gently. Breaking the bond freed her, but it freed me too. I can no longer remain in your world. No. Adaora grabbed his arm. You can't leave. I must, he whispered. But not forever. Her heart pounded painfully. What do you mean? He smiled, warm, human, hopeful. If a spirit is freed with love, not fear, it can return to life again. Not as a ghost, but reborn. Adaora's eyes widened. You will be reborn. Yes, a new beginning, new chance, a new life where we may meet again. Tears spilled from her eyes. But I won't remember you, Obina said softly. You'll know me before I know you. Adora sobbed quietly. When will you return? Obina lifted her hand and kissed it lightly. When the silk cotton tree blooms twice in 1 year, he whispered. That will be the sign. His body dissolved into soft, warm golden mist that drifted around her like a final embrace. Then he was gone. Completely gone. The shrine grew silent again. Adaora knelt, tears falling onto the red earth. A breeze lifted a single petal from the silk cotton tree, out of season, carrying it into her hands. She looked up in awe. Tree was blooming. Twice in 1 year. Adaora pressed the petal to her heart. A smile, small, hopeful, trembling, slowly formed. He would return, and she would be waiting,